You know how I feel. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh, ooh. You know how I feel. You know how I feel. Ooh, ooh, ooh. You know how I feel.
1, 2, 3, 4.
You
Okay.
know how I feel.
Let's make the transition. All right. Oops. Hey. Yeah. Okay, sweet. Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining me. It's good to see the familiar face. I'm trying to figure. I always suck at figuring it out. It's good to see you guys, Jackie, Claire. Sweet, sweet. I wasn't sure if anybody would show up because this is probably the least I have ever promoted a class ever. But sometimes just life happens. All good, but just I didn't get a lot of chance to promo this, and so we don't have like a specific theme tonight. I've put a playlist together, and sometimes in my classes, what I like to do, I love theme classes, but one of the sort of tricks of them is that they need to be cohesive, and sometimes it's fun to just, hey Nicole, sometimes it's fun to just bounce around a little bit. So what we're going to do tonight is kind of an old school foundations class. We're going to talk about point technique to start off with. We're going to do a little 2-point technique, the gentle kind. And then we're going to move into some core work. And what we'll be doing while we're doing this, I'll be kind of like a tour guide or something, and I'll be just sort of, offering insights as I'm doing it with you. If you're taking this class for the first time, this class is more of like a companion class. Like this would be like taking a yoga class. It's not like tutorials for an hour. It's really like we just jump in and we do it. And for me, like I've really learned this about me, that like it makes things easier for me if there's a companion involved. Like, if I always listen to a podcast while I do this thing or whatever, and especially these live things, like sometimes, it's just fun to, to show up for something. And so that's kind of like the intent of this class as it's morphed. I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this, but we've been doing this now 6 months, I think I did my first class like the first weekend of April or something, and some of you were there for that one. It was a disaster technically. I mean, like with the the cameras and everything, but it was awesome, and so it feels good to be still here and doing it. I really don't have that much to say. I hope you have fun tonight. This playlist is going to be only in my iTunes, so you'll have to I've sort of tweaked this up a little bit. I hope you guys like it. But the music info is down in the corner now. And you can see it. Oh, and the bad news is there's no Sheila tonight. She is not here. And so it's just me. And so, I realized that, I feel like maybe I've been overkilling you guys with cameras. I like the big cameras, like I have them all, but I know that that's probably a little assaulting. So tonight I'm going to keep it a little bit more simple, especially since it's just me. I mean, I'm going to pull my 5 cameras out, but for the most part, we're just going to keep it simple. All right. So, yeah. And, yeah. Yeah, okay, here we go. As always, you can help me. Oh, hey, Carla. Carla Dawn Jones, are you the same Carla that was eating Be Hoopy? I'm curious. Okay, let me start this over. And we'll go ahead and jump into Sway. All right. If you're joining me for the first time tonight, we love it when you say hey. You can comment without donating. I'm really doing these classes because I need the connection, and over my years of teaching, I've heard so many times people say that they wish they had someone to hoop with. And so I know it's not exactly the same, but y'all are my people that I hoop with every Monday, Thursday, and Sunday. Audible breath in. Okay, sweet. Carla, you just had a birthday, I think. Happy birthday. As always, let me know if the mic and the music are enough. If one's too loud. Nothing's personal. I want it to be perfect. Audible breath in. Hooping has always been a path to me. I didn't think it would be, but every year that goes by that I keep hooping, there's some unexpected thing I learn about myself through moving every day. Through being just with my thoughts and my movement. Audible breath in. For some of you, this time to yourself is a cherished time. Sometimes we cherish things so much that we start thinking about when they're going to go away. And we miss the real beauty of what we were cherishing because we know we'll miss it. Audible breath in. Big breath in. Breathing deeply is how you'll feel that cherished feeling. And when you're there, you won't be thinking about time anymore. Audible breath in. Yeah, well, people are commenting from YouTube, so I'm pretty sure I'm on there, Dan. But thank you for the update. Unless YouTube just took me down like a second ago. Okay, all right. So, if you're just joining me, tonight is going to be kind of a very old school class where it's kind of like a very gentle technique class. We're going to go ahead and talk about point technique. And as I mentioned in the opening, we're going to get into a little bit of two-point technique, but we're going to start with point technique. And the easy part about point technique is the holding of the hoop. That's the easy part. And all you do is just hang the hoop from anywhere as long as you're not gripping it. The hard part, but that fun part, is remembering to move the whole body. Actually, this might be a good time for my 5 cams. Prepare for the assault. All right. And so it's almost like you've been given this task for your inner dancer to find a way to dance while holding the hoop without grip. All right. Point technique is like the hoop path version of Tai Chi. It's more built on form, like the form of you, not a particular form. And it's less dictated by the pace of the music sometimes. There's a patience in point technique that hopefully tonight you can find your way into in your mind. Patience. Waiting for the crops to grow. I'm doing point technique mostly in my arms. But point technique can be on the body. Favorite functions of point, though, is how it warms up, and it's the reason that I usually teach it at the beginning of my classes. Because I feel like it's a gentle way to first engage your hoop before practice. Because it takes all the fear of dropping the hoop pretty much away. And it brings you in to focus on other things. Breath in. Core hooping is point hooping. As long as you're not gripping it and the hoop's touching you, that's basically point technique. More or less. This is me flying the hoop in point. This is the hoop hanging. If you've taped yourself hooping before, and you made it through it with some level of self-esteem the first time, that's awesome. Because it can be really challenging the first time you see yourself hooping. You're like, whoa, it feels a lot better than it looks. But usually when you start to look at it, at least in my case, what really bummed me out the most was what wasn't moving on my body. Like how if the hoop was in one arm, I wasn't moving the other arm. And point technique really was a good exercise for me to sort of develop holding the hoop, but then also, flying the other hand. So if I'm holding the hoop, this is point technique. But if and anywhere I hold the hoop is point technique. But this represents one point of contact. Even though the hoop is on my 4 fingers, my hand counts as one point of contact. So when I put my other hand on the hoop here, I create 2 points of contact. So when I talk about 2-point technique, that's what I'm talking about. It means that there are 2 points that you're using to hold the hoop up. These are 2 points on the inside wall, right? You see how the hoop is I'm in the middle there? Okay. And then this one is 2-point technique. Well, actually, before we even get there, so this would be another example of 2-point technique. A little bit different, though, would be if I am holding the hoop with one hand, and then I pull the hoop across me, and I create this path, this point of contact here. That's 2-point. Okay, so it's any number of points that I have. This would be 3-point, right? And basically, the type of point smears, because you can do smears in point without gripping the hoop at all. And actually, they're really fun. But this is back to my sorry, I digress. This is a 2-point technique, and I'm using like a trace to move the hoop around. If you've had hoop half a million times, or you know what 2-point is, you should just go off. But for those of you that are starting it, the reason that I like to teach it is it can just feel like sorcery sometimes. And it can really like soften your hooping up. It's like developing a sense of touch. So balance is very much point technique, definitely. That's the standing version. That's a great point. Okay, there you go. Sorry, guys. My hoop is Trinity Star Hoops. Unfortunately, I don't know how long my mic was out. Hopefully it wasn't for very long. I don't think I said anything important. Oh yeah, 2-point technique with this hold here. So here, come down here, and back around. I think that's what I was describing. I'm holding the hoop here, push my hands down, and then I fold them out. I'm in this I've got my hands both folded out, and that's cool. And that feels a little funky for some people, but where it is usually used is in these warrior engagement techniques like I'm doing right now. Okay, cool. I think every teacher should have goals for their students, because without having goals for your students, you really are just, you're crowd pleasing. And one of the goals that I have in my teaching is not to turn people into the dopest, most badass hoopers in the world, but to help them incorporate hooping into their life so that they're more badass in general. That they feel better, that they become less afraid of conflict or trouble. Try to imagine how their future self might look. Oh, I love that song. Okay. All right. So we're going to move into some core hooping. Sweet. We're doing pretty good on time. This is great. Water break. Oh, I'm doing that thing with all the cameras. Sorry, guys. Although it might be working tonight. I don't know. I can't tell. All right. There we go. Okay. So we're going to jump onto the core now. If you're enjoying that point technique, that's awesome. If you weren't enjoying it, don't worry. Not everybody loves everything, and it's okay. I think, but going back to having goals for your students, as teachers, as artists, you at least start from the personal. And so this is, those 2-point techniques just they took over my hooping about 8 years ago, and They haven't really given it back to core yet. But I'm on the core now. I'd like you to join me on the waist. And I've already been hooping a little bit, so I'm a little bit more warmed up than you might be. So you don't have to root with your feet down unless you just are feeling it already. And maybe even if you're feeling like turning. But at some point, within your flow, I do want you to root the feet somewhere and then just move around in that rooting there. For instance, like if I took a big sort of sumo stance. Audible breath in. All right. All right. I'm kind of liking the music down there in the corner now, kind of faded out, but let me know if you guys can see that on your phones or your laptops or however you watch it. Oh, that's the other thing that would help me. If you guys could let me know how you watch it, that would be really cool. Like, do you watch it on your TV? Do you watch it on your phone? Do you put it on a laptop? I'm just curious. You can answer later, though. Okay, so I'm on the core. Yeah. Essentially, we're just going to warm up the core right now. The core in the hoop path is the top of the head to the bottoms of the feet. So anywhere along that distance is the core, right? So you could be shoulder hooping. Okay, cool. You could be shoulder hooping. You could be head hooping. You could leg hooping. All that stuff's core. The only thing I'd ask you to do is to stick to the core. The arms are the only non-core of the core. About this on Monday, but if you think of your two trees as the roots being everything below my shirt here, and then the trunk and branches, the trunks are really a very powerful place, right? They don't move that well like the upper trees do, but it's a powerful place. And so if you can think about your two trees all the way down into that space, like down into the hips, so that they are moving independently. They're like moving independently or changing their orientation. You see how I'm turning away now? I think what sometimes we can lose sight of is you're not really like learning how to do cool things with the hoop. You're learning how to do cool things with your body. And you're waist hooping, like you're developing things that are probably a lot more important than how impressive it looks or how many likes you get. That it's a movement. Lost you in any of this, just hopefully you can see me. Yeah, this might be a good time for the overhead cam, but you can, if I turn this way, you see how my feet, my legs, foot cam showing that my legs are basically the same, but then I'm coming back here. And you should definitely not hurt yourself, but and of course you can hold and chill somewhere, try to work that out if you feel a little clunky in one area, and then bring it back. Move it really quickly back and forth, you'll feel that sensation of stalling when you're turning with the hoop and cutting when you're going against the hoop. Stalling, cutting. Sweet. I was hoping that most of you would, if you haven't done this yet, y'all, if you're, try hooking it up to your home stereo because the sound's pretty good. Okay. So for our next exercise, we are going to, you can just stay in flow because it might be best for us just to do that. And unless I goofed with the playlist, we're going to move right into some shoulder hooping. So you're going to come up to the shoulders. Now, if you're new to hooping, or new to this class, or if you can't shoulder hoop, that's okay. You're going to learn sometime. And the quickest, easiest way without getting into a whole tutorial on shoulder hooping or to get up is just if the hoop is going to the left, like if it's moving counterclockwise, then stick your left arm in, right? And the hoop's going to roll onto your elbow and then turn like somebody just surprised you behind you or something. You'll turn, and that's going to send the hoop up with a lot of oomph. Been hooping a while, you might be able to relate to what I'm saying, but I found this playlist and it was like looking through old pictures, and I played this song in like so many cities, and my memory just started hopping from city to city that I had played this. So when you are up here on the shoulders, one of the best pieces of advice I can give you is to not hunch over the hoop. I do it. If you learn to hoop by watching me, I might be to blame. But what you want to do is pull back. Pull back. This might be a good time. Oops. All right. But what you're going to want to do is pull back. My feet going, and I don't have to I think sometimes hoopers try to just go ahead and make up a choreography the first time they learn something or something, and you don't have to get too cute with the steps, you're learning this. So I wouldn't worry about steps and symmetry and that sort of thing. Like if you just kept putting one foot behind the other but liking that turn, then that's where you should be. Shoulder hooping was how I got into hooping. That's really when things got cool for me. If you're taking a break and not hooping, I'd love to hear what technique pulled you in. So just a little bit more subtle things to add. What you're trying to develop in shoulder hooping is developing more rib cage, and so that you're not having to throw your arms as much. And the rib cage, kind of like the waist, is it's so meaty, right? Like it's so big that it just takes a little bit of movement of it. It's like a lot easier for it to get push per inch on the hoop, right? And so it takes, instead of like one arm just having to do all the work, if I can start to get like a rock step or some bounce in my rib cage, then my arms are just there to sort of make sure everything stays cool. And I'm upright, right? I'm not hunched over, upright. Okay. Sweet. Okay. Oh, I'm kind of giving away our next exercise. Okay. Our next exercise is going to be more of a technique than an exercise. And what we're going to do, well, you'll know what I mean. I want you to see if you can play with neck stuff. Like this is a neck stall. This is me hooping around the neck. And then this would be like point technique with my neck, right? Because here's why. Because what happens in hooping is that as you get better at it, you look more and more unlocked. Like your movement starts to look more fluid, right? And unfortunately, though, it's ironic, but like the more unlocked you get in other parts, the more exposed another lockness is in some other part. Like for me, it has been my neck and my shoulders, and really trying to unlock those and remember to keep those unlocked. And so I'm going to keep the hoop on my neck here. Okay, let's see if we can. Okay, so let's say, I wanted to try this sort of a slowish flow. And the hoop doesn't need to stay on my neck the whole time or anything. But what I want to do is work that part, to think that's my focus for this song. And this is just me placing the hoop on my neck and then starting to spin. Hopefully you're not getting too much wind. Just pick it off my neck with my shoulder. All I have to do is just fly that hand up and it's off. Some of you, hooping around the neck will probably help you to lower those shoulders, which are probably getting in the way sometimes of your shoulder hooping. Not everybody, of course. Pull my shoulders back. And then if my steps, if I really sort of pull in on my steps, it's really not a lot of pressure on my neck. If it's too much, I just drop it back to the shoulders. Oops. Enjoying the neck. My neck is used to it. I'm going to turn my mic off just to give you guys an idea, but I don't want the hoop to hit it. Keep going with this. Good practice. Some of you, if you really want to develop your angle hooping, on the shoulders, develop your neck hooping here. Right? I'm rooted. My legs are bouncing here. I'm trying not so hard not to hit the mic though, sorry. But instead of head banging, put a little more chill in it. Tuck the shoulder in and then angle. All right. Okay. Sweet. All right. So, yeah, I think I've gotten to everything I was thinking about getting to, and we're doing great. How are you guys doing? I hope you have energy and we can just keep rocking a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about breaks. So I'm on the waist here. It's definitely fundamental for me. The reason that breaks are really important, though, is because I was developing my second current, and I wanted a cool way to switch from one current to the other current. And then because I was listening to breakbeat and okay, sweet, thanks, Courtney. Oh, shucks. Oh, right. So I wanted to develop both sides of my body, both currents. So like every time I would break, and then because I was listening to break beat a lot, it just started to happen that, this function to try and reverse the current had become kind of flare, and it had become, kind of like, a sort of double bonus, because not only was I switching currents, but I could do it with the beat. Some people thought it looked cool, that I could tie a few together. But the reason I tell you the origin story of breaks is so that you can get a sense that what you're really doing, what should be really focused on, is changing current, right? To think of it that way, right? And so if I'm thinking about changing the current, when I break the hoop, my legs are prepared to change the current, right? I'm not just like standing flat, out. I'm prepared to change that current. I'm prepared to. And then, one of the things that point technique teaches us is this idea of form. And so then, like when I do a break, it won't even matter like what it looks like for the folks at home, because there are no folks at home. But what it will feel like to me is me activating both hands and then coordinating their movements, even though they're doing completely different things. I'm really interested to see how this like sort of modern hoop generation is going to age. Because I think that hooping and movement, and I'll go ahead and start the music, are doing things for our bodies. They're heightening our senses in ways that we really don't have any data on, because nobody's really been doing it that long. Not like we're doing it. All right. Okay, so we're going to work on our breaks. And we're going to work on mostly changing current. And just so that we have a really good focus on changing the current, we're not going to go from break to break right now. We're just going to break, go at least one time around, and then break. But every time you break, I love this part, right? You'll hold the hoop better, it'll stay flatter if you root one of the legs, and it's usually the leg that's stopping the leg of the hand that's stopping the hoop. Now I root, and it's the same thing up here, shoulders. One of the things, especially when you're doing core breaks, is that if you have developed both of your currents, your brain's not freaking out that you just went the way you suck at, right? So instead, your brain's like, whatever, let's go left, let's go right, whatever. And it'll tighten up your brakes. Like being able to do both currents makes you better at brakes too. Not that you can't get great at brakes, but you'll get even better if you can hoop both directions. Yeah, totally. you drop as you break on breaks at the waist, it helps to keep the hoop up. But the most important part is to remember the twist. You're like a spring that coils and uncoils. Now, you can do them at the waist. We're going to talk about them at the shoulders in a second, but this is basically a pinch break. And a pinch break is when you pinch the hoop between you and your body. So that's what it was when I was growing up. And of course, the closer you get to the body at the waist, the more pinched they are. I kind of do sort of a cheating version of a pinch break down here. I use my forearms, or I get pretty close to my, the crook of my arm. This is if I can mirror both hands or fly the other hand with it. It's opposite. All right, so let's get to the really good stuff here. That's obviously what the next song is going to be. Okay, but when you're I'm going to see if I can do this long sleeve. And I'll be honest with you, this is like when you're doing pinches, like tanks and things, less fabric, usually makes these things easier. I don't do that many pinch breaks as much as I used to, but I will tell you this, that you can get really cool bruises from it. But the way that I do a pinch break is I do the same things that I was doing before. I'm doing all my turning, but then I bring the arm down and I pinch. I just create like sort of a stop. You'll feel your hoop kind of flex. Boom. Now, if you have like a really lightweight and super small hoop, you'll have to do the more Ann Humphreys technique of pinching, which is where it's a quick explosion. Boom, boom, boom. But my hoop's a 38. I think somebody asked me, I don't know if I answered it. My hoop is a 38 from Trinity Star. They rock. I love them. I think they're great. These are pinches. Ann is much better at this than I am, but this is what we call, in the hoop path terms, we call this a first tree pinch or an AM pinch. And it's when the hand comes across the body. This is an AM break regularly, like if I was just doing breaks. And so to do an AM pinch break, I have to really come across, boom, pop the hoop there. I have to sort of catch it like you would a fish. Like, oops, you get a little bit ahead of the hoop. All right. Those are pinch breaks. So we'll talk a little bit more about them. I want to give you a chance to practice. And then we'll probably move into a nice, cool free hoop from here. Okay, so these are pinches, and you're basically pinching it right up under, or somewhere in the body there. And then when I do a version of them, sometimes I'll actually stop the hoop. It's not exactly a pinch, but it looks like it right here. So I find a target on my arm. What's cool with pinches is that you can work above the hoop with your hands, and then you go into your regular shoulder and your breaks you're below. See? So you can sort of and create misdirection, like a sort of flow on. Oops, sorry, that's not that good, but that is a sticky pinch. You can do a sticky break is when your hand stays on in the same position through the whole break. This is me doing sticky breaks up here. You can do a sticky pinch. Ann does really well, but it requires that washing machine, pivot of your whole torso. Even though I'm teaching you guys, I'm like getting lost in my own hoop right now. Pinch breaks, and they will definitely create a bruise. This is me walking the. Let me see if I can just keep the hoodie on, but this is me walking with pinches. Walk. Hopefully my mic's on. Okay, you can walk. See how I'm walking the hoop up and down. I know we don't. Most of us don't have exactly the same parts, but maybe there's a way you can, figure that one out. Okay, sweet. So, that's an interesting place to put this song. Yeah, I don't know, maybe we'll come back to that one, but yeah, well, I don't know. Sorry, this would be better if I had had a better song picked out. I just changed my mind. Okay, so this is the free hoop now. And it's going to be more chill. I feel like we've been going pretty hard, so. Thank you for joining me. There won't be any more teaching. But if you do have a question about anything that we covered tonight, I'll be checking the comments and hooping along with you guys. Yeah, it's coming back. It's coming back. The song is are gonna come back. Just to add one point, this song takes a minute to get going, but if I throw my other hand in on a pinch break, you can do some cool stuff. You see what I'm doing there? Pinching at the top arm, but then just doing an old school break with my left hand. Pinch, pinch, pinch. do dub versions of famous albums. They did Radiohead, which was really good. Okay, sorry guys, shit. All right, we're back here one more time. So one arm is the pinching arm, that's the outside arm, boom, okay? And so you can do that by just, you see that? I could do it over here on the other side, just break it, boom. But I'm throwing my other arm into it, right? I'm using my offhand. But then what happens, like if you want to do that old school move that I was doing, I'm gonna pinch the hoop here, that's going to send it back. This arm's going to break. And then this arm is just going to sneak in a little pinch here. I mean, not a pinch, but a break here. I'm making this so, this is why I don't teach technique. I'm sorry. I'm not good at this. Boom, boom. But then this is like the move I was telling you about. So I'm breaking it kind of like on my forearm here, pushing it up high into the elbow like Hula Hula was talking about. Boom, 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 boom. You know, it's funny, people used to give me shit about making noise when I would hit breaks. I recommend it. If you're not, you know, it's like in, you know, martial arts or something, you know, it can help you find that moment to put an audible something on it. Okay, so we're going to chill out. We're going to go back to that song you said you guys liked. Thank you guys for joining me. If you're watching me on Facebook, this song is probably going to get us kicked off, so thank you. I hope you have a great night. You can always switch over to Hoop Path Backs on YouTube or Twitch, totally free. Sarah, we missed you. I'm glad you joined us tonight. Or I'm glad you're commenting again. These are just pinches that I'm showing right now. I'm really digging this one. This is sort of like, almost more like a catch instead of a pinch. Just bring my arm down, catching the hoop. Of course, your paddles are always there to put the hoop back in motion for you. All right, that's why paddling and breaks, they're basically just complementary opposites. Since we're having kind of a covers theme tonight, this is a cover of the Modest Mouse track.
Your body may be gone, I'm gonna carry you in my head, in my heart, in my soul. And maybe we'll get lucky and we'll both live again. Well, I don't know, I don't think so. Well, that is that and this is this. You tell me what you want, I'll tell you what you get away from me.
1, 2.
Collected my belongings and I left the jail. Well, thanks for the time. I had to think a spell, I had to think a while. And the ocean breeze salty, won't you carry it in your head, in your mouth, in your soul? And maybe we'll get lucky and we'll both grow old. Well, I don't know, I hope so. Well, that is that and this is this. You tell me what you saw, I'll tell you what you missed when the ocean left the sky. You missed when time and life shook hands and said goodbye. When the earth folded on itself and said good luck. I hope heaven and hell are really there. I wouldn't hold my breath. You wasted wasted life, why wouldn't you waste it? You wasted life, why wouldn't you waste it? You wasted life, why wouldn't you waste it? And the ocean breeze salty, won't you carry it in your head, in your
Thank you guys for joining me. Thank you for your donations, your support, your shares, your likes.
And the more we move ahead, the more
Looks like we might be headed back inside. I'll be here.
I don't mind, how could I mind? Well, that is that, and this is this. You tell me what you want, I'll tell you what you get away from me. Well, that is that, and this is this. You tell me what you saw, I'll tell you what you missed when the ocean met the sky. You missed when time and life shook hands and said goodbye. When the earth folded on itself and said good luck. I hope heaven and hell are really there. I wouldn't hold my breath. You wasted life, why wouldn't you waste it? You wasted life, why wouldn't you waste it? You wasted life, why wouldn't you waste it? You wasted life, why wouldn't you waste it?
Sweet. Okay, this song is a shout out to everybody that's my age or older. But this is definitely gonna get us kicked off. But have a great night. This is one of my favorite songs.
Sing me to sleep, sing me to sleep. I'm tired and I want to go to bed. Sing me to sleep, sing me to sleep. And then leave me alone. Don't try to wake me in the morning, 'cause I will be gone. Don't feel bad for me, I want you to know. Deep in the cell of my heart, I will feel so glad to go. Sing me to sleep, sing me to sleep. I don't want to wake up on my own anymore. Sing to me, sing to me. I don't want to wake up on my own anymore. Don't feel bad for me, I want you to know. Deep in the cell of my heart, I really want to go. There is another world, there is a better world. Well, I must be. Well, I must be.
Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, everybody. Okay, guys, thank you very much. Have a great night.